Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video day, and today the Boston Celtics beat the Indiana Pacers 105 to 102 to advance to the NBA Finals. They not only beat them but sweep them as well. Before I congratulate the Celtics and go over what they did and accomplished in this series and in this game to advance in the NBA Finals, I want to give some credit to the Pacers. I think a lot of people are gonna not hate on them because yes, they were swept. That is very embarrassing, but they were swept against a 64 win team and like Boston, who is the one seed against without their star player. But I want to give the Pacers some credit. I know these last two games have been home games for them, but to compete with a 64 win team and both games ending up being 3-point ball games and both of those games being really close games where you play, really good basketball up until the final minutes and Boston kind of dominates in the final couple minutes and are able to, come out of the game with a win without your star, without your whole team and Tyrese Halliburton. This Pacers team is a great team. They got Siakam and Turner and Nimhart, who and TJ McConnell, who definitely showed really good things in the playoffs and especially in these last two games without Halliburton. But this is a completely different team without Tyrese Halliburton. The pace is different. How fast they still move the ball really fast, but a lot is different without Tyrese Halliburton. And to go up against a 64 win team like Boston and how good they are. I know, yes, they are without Porzingis, but they still have a great team, even without Porzingis. And the fact that they were able to make both games that close without Halliburton, it's great. And congratulations to Boston. They're going to the NBA Finals for the second time in the Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown era. Last time they were in the NBA Finals was the 2021-22 season, lost to the Golden State Warriors. Now, most likely they will face the Dallas Mavericks unless, which would be for the first 100 teams went up 3-0 or 155-0 in the series. So, out of 155 times when a team is up 3-0, they win the series. And it was 154 before this game. Now it's 155 now that Boston has won this game. So most likely, yes, we did see Boston almost become the first team to do that last year, but most likely it will be Dallas and Boston, Kyrie returning to Boston in the NBA Finals. Now, look, I'm not going to say it's impossible for something like that to happen. It's very unlikely, but I could see Minnesota winning a game or two. I could see that. I think Minnesota could win game 4. It's at home. I think they're going to make adjustments. I very well could see Minnesota winning. Or no, it's actually in Dallas. Never mind. But I could see Minnesota making some adjustments. All games have basically been close outcomes. I could see Minnesota winning game 4. We'll see though, and then game 5 would be back at home. So I feel like Minnesota. I'm not gonna say they have a chance in the series, but I feel like Minnesota has a chance to grab a couple games. Like compared to the Pacers, I feel like Minnesota doesn't. I don't think Dallas is going to sweep them. I think Dallas is going to win the series, and we're going to see a Dallas and Boston NBA Finals. But still, I think Minnesota is going to hang on just a tiny bit. I could see them winning 1 or 2 games, and then Dallas wins in 5 or 6 and goes to the NBA Finals. But if Dallas wins tomorrow and they win on March 28th, Thursday, that means both teams have some time off. I mean, because game 1 of the NBA Finals, no matter what happens, it doesn't matter if Dallas wins tomorrow. It still starts June 6th. So both teams would have time off. And I think the good thing for Boston is you would think June 6th, that gives enough time for Kristaps Porzingis to, get back into things. And I would think Kristaps Porzingis, we talk about Kyrie Irving facing his former team. How about Kristaps Porzingis, he might be able to get ready and back on the court game 1 to face his former team. There were rumors that Porzingis could make a game 4, game 5 return in this series if a game 5 happened, and that didn't happen. I think it wasn't bad to rush him back, and especially in a series you dominated in. But I think you're going to need a guy like Porzingis back, especially with the size Dallas has with Gafford and hopefully they get Lively back and. So yeah, Porzingis, them getting Porzingis back will be huge. But let's get into the scoring of this game. 105 to 102 is the final score. Jaylen Brown wins the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. The Larry Bird, that's funny enough, the Larry Bird trophy. 29 points for him tonight, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 assists. Definitely deserved that award. He had a great game. But it was Derek White who had the clutch shot in this game, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 5 steals, and 3 blocks. The best defensive guard in the NBA right here. It's no doubt. The best shot blocking guard, at least. That I think it's a definite. It is 100% true that he is the best defensive guard in the NBA, but he's definitely the best shot blocker in the NBA out of all guards. Having him and Drew Holiday defensively as a backcourt, it is insane. And if Boston wins the championship, it's going to be, yes, we look at guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown who provide a lot offensively. Jaylen Brown provides defensively as well, but I feel like I feel like these two guys, Derek White and Drew Holiday, need to be talked about more throughout this playoff run defensively, even offensively, of what they've done. And I think getting Porzingis back will be huge for Boston as well. So, yeah. And then speaking of Jason Tatum, he was fantastic. He was 2 assists away from a triple-double. He had 26, 13, and 8. Bad three-point shooting night after he was finally getting it going. He did get 3 in, but shot 3 for 11. But he was finally feeling it in Game 3. So, honestly, I think Jason Tatum, he hasn't struggled in this series. Just has struggled to find his three-point shot. If he can get that going in the finals, he'll be perfect. But you don't want the Jason Tatum you had in your last finals against Golden State. But I will say, this is a lot better Boston team, I believe, than, that Boston team against Golden State that lost. You can have Tatum who absolutely plays awful. You can have Tatum, let's say Tatum only drops, Tatum hasn't had many games like this in the playoffs, but let's say Tatum scores only 15, 17 points, which is very unlikely. But Boston's still Boston still is good enough to win a game or a series with Tatum struggling, in my opinion, because I feel like they have talent, so much talent that even if Tatum had a series like he did against Golden State, if he had this, series like he did in Golden State in 2022 in this upcoming finals like he did last NBA Finals, I still think Boston could take down a Dallas Mavericks or Minnesota Timberwolves team because of how good this Boston Celtics team is. But, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. Jason was so bad in his last NBA Finals, but I feel like he's had a really good postseason outside of the 3-point struggles. If he can find that 3-point shot, he's going to find himself a hell of an NBA Finals. So, yeah, it was a good game. 26, 13, and 8. 1 steal. Just the 3-point shooting was an issue. 7 points and 8 rebounds with 5 assists for Al Horford after his 7-3 pointer game against the Pacers in Game 3. Had a dominant game. A little bit of a only had 4 field goal attempts. Shot 2 for 4, 1 for 3 from 3. So he wasn't shooting the ball, but he was excellent. And yeah, that really recaps Boston's scoring. Only 10 bench points. But yeah. Drew Holiday had 17. Derek White had 16, if I didn't already go over that. For the Pacers, 24 for Andrew Nembhard, 15 for TJ McConnell with 5 and 4, 12 for Obi Toppin, 7 rebounds, 2 assists off the bench, 3 for Ben Shepherd, who got the start, the rookie, 8 points and 4 rebounds for Miles Turner, who only played 27 minutes, 14 for former Boston Celtic Aaron Nesmith with 6 rebounds, and Siakam had 19 and 10 with 3 assists. So I think the Pacers will be better than they were next year. This is a young team who will continue to grow and probably add more additions this offseason through free agency in the trade market and, probably re-sign Pascal Siakam as well. So I think this Pacers team will be better than they were last year, but you got to stay healthy in the playoffs if you want to succeed. I think if the Pacers would have stayed healthy in this series, I'm not going to say they would have won this series because I think Boston still would have won, but I don't think they would have been swept if Tyrese Haliburton was healthy. I think they would have won 1 or 2 of these games with Tyrese Haliburton at home. The Pacers played this good at home without Tyrese Haliburton. I think they would have been successful in at least 1 or 2 of these games at home with Tyrese Haliburton. And, 3 of the 4 games were really close games. Game 1, overtime. Game 2 was a blowout. But Game 3 and Game 4, 3-point outcomes. So this was a dominant. Boston dominated this series, but they were all 3 of the 4 games were close games. But just Boston dominated in crunch time. Let me know your thoughts and peace out.